Hey everyone, welcome to Things Lucy Reads. I'm Luce and today I have a review video. The book I'm going to review is Gates of Thread and Stone by Lori-Ann Lee, which I read last month for the debut-a-thon and really enjoyed. Okay, so it's about this girl called Kai, and she was found on the banks of the river in their city, which is called Ninurta, and found by this guy called Reeve, who took her in and raised her as his sister, although they're not actually related. And Kai has the ability to control time. She can cause it to slow down and speed up, and when she was really little she once rewound a whole day, although she hasn't been able to do that since. So that was really interesting. And people keep disappearing and people think it's the work of this mysterious Black Rider, but no one really knows anything about it because it gets kind of hushed up and stuff like that. And then one day Kai's brother goes missing, and so she tries to find out what has happened to him, and no one will help her, so she teams up with her friend Avan and they decide to leave the city and find the Black Rider and get Reeve back. But nothing is what it seems, and they find out that no one is who they thought they were, and yeah, shit gets real. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The only reason I didn't give it 5 is because it's the first in the series, and the others might be better. I don't know yet. And I don't want to give this 5 in case the others are better, and it leaves no room for improvement in my ratings, if that makes sense. Okay, so this book, I hate myself for saying this, but it's kind of similar to The Hunger Games, just the way the city is divided between really wealthy people who live near the palace, and that's enclosed, and they have it's consumerism behind those walls. So that's basically like the capital, and then there's these other parts that are not quite so well off as the city, but they're still better well off than the part called the Labyrinth, which is where Kai lives. And basically it's a suburb built out of shipping containers, they're just all stacked up, and each person lives in one, and they're the poorest of the poor, and they kind of don't like outsiders, and if anyone leaves to go to one of the other parts of the city and better themselves, they're never spoken of in the Labyrinth again, because it's like a betrayal. But having said that, it's not just another YA dystopia. It's actually not even really a dystopia at all. Kai has these powers over time, so it's sort of like a weird hybrid of dystopia and fantasy, but it works. The way that she wove them together was really interesting, and I thought it was really well done. It's kind of hard to explain. When you read it, you'll know what I mean. And I hate calling it a dystopia because that's not really what it is. It has elements of dystopia, but I don't think this is a dystopian novel. Yeah, so it was really interesting. I'm not sure what I expected going into it, but it just kind of exceeded all of my expectations, and I thought it was so fascinating. The things that I really enjoyed about it were the things that made it sort of almost like every other dystopia you've ever read, but then not like every other dystopia you've ever read. Okay, so to start with, there's no love triangle. No love triangle. There's Kai and there's Avan, and they kind of have a bit of a thing for each other. And then there's this other guy called G10 that they meet when they leave the city, and there could be something potentially between him and Kai, but it never actually happens. They're just friends, and that was so refreshing. It was so nice. The other thing I really liked was that Avan was canonically bisexual. She said, it was said in the text that he'd, had liaisons with girls and boys and didn't really have a preference either way, and there's a couple of occasions where he's flirting with a boy, and Kai has a thing for him, so she's not too happy about that. But it's not the fact that he's flirting with a boy that's upsetting her, it's the fact that he's flirting with someone else. It's a non-issue what gender they are. It's just not her. That's why she gets a bit jealous when that happens. So that was really nice to see a bisexual character, and they never actually say the word bisexual, but that's what he is. And the other thing is, this is going to be a trilogy, and usually in a trilogy that is marked as dystopia, it takes all 3 books for the main thing to happen. Sometimes it's overthrowing the government, sometimes it's not, but there's a big thing that happens that presumably makes their world not a dystopia anymore. But that thing happens by the end of this first book. So that was really great. Instead of dragging it out over 3 books, the thing that needed to happen all happened in here. So now I am just really, really excited to see where the other 2 books go, because that's so unusual for it to all happen in the first book. And I really can't wait to see where she takes this world, because I think it's going to be excellent. Kai is a really great heroine. I haven't said that yet, but she is. Like, she knows what it is that she needs to do, and even though some of it scares her, she does it anyway. And even though she likes Arvan, it's never like a sickening kind of teenage love. She's always still very sensible about the things that she needs to do and the things that need to happen. And even though she likes Arvan, she doesn't let it interfere with any of that. So I thought it was just really, really, really great. Again, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, and I would really, really recommend it, even if dystopia is not your thing, because it's just so unlike dystopias. It's like so similar, but also so completely different. So if you're kind of like bored with the whole dystopian thing and you want something different, I would really recommend this, because it's really great. The second book is called The Infinite. The cover was released on Monday on the blog Icy Books, and also there's a giveaway to win either that one or this one if you don't have this one, and I will link that down below. I'm not sure when the release date actually is, but this is already out in paperback, so I think it's going to be soon. I would really love it if you all read it, because it was pretty damn good.